Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing some target practice, quite simply because we're coming to that point in the summer where we've crested and we're on the downward slope towards autumn. And with that, I instantly know I'm going to get some rat activity around my chicken area. It's just something that you've got to put up with, and it's something you've got to get on top with and deal with if you keep chickens. Now, I have seen a few little digs and scratch marks, and that's prompted me to get my air rifle and start doing some target practice. I haven't touched it in a very long while, and instantly, as soon as I put a few pellets down range, I realised I was rusty. So, to be ethical, even for a rat, a pest and vermin, or vermin control, you still have to afford that animal the best way and ethical way to dispatch it. I use a variety of means, from the ordinary rat trap to the ethical one where you box it and it stays inside of a box, the door shuts behind it, and you can dispose of it by whatever method you want then. Or occasionally I will reach out from the top of my garden down to the chicken run and knock a rat over by that method. So before I go into that part of the year where I know I will get rats, I want to get my rifle zeroed, get myself ready, and on top of that, get myself confident to know that I can reach out from the top of my garden to the bottom and knock that rat over and dispatch it in a clean manner. Right then, so the conditions for this, for me to zero my rifle, aren't exactly ideal. It's dry, but I do have a very strong left to right wind, possibly gusting to, I would say, 20 mile an hour. And for a sub 12 foot-pound rifle, that actually is quite a strong wind. So the distances I'm shooting over are 30 meters. That's roughly the distance that I'll do most of my shooting in the garden space. That's 98 feet and 32 yards. So that's well within the capability of this 2.2 UK legal air rifle. And if you look at the back of my target, which is very thin ply, it still has enough power to penetrate and blow the back out. So we're in no danger of wounding unnecessarily a rat. It would be dispatched if I hit it cleanly. So yeah, I've now got to wait for the kids to finish whatever they want to do in the garden and trampoline. They've now come out. When they go back in, the wife will lock the door so they're contained out the way, and I can spend the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes putting some more pellets down range and trying to zero. I already know, like I said, I'm rusty, and I may have some work that I need to do to basically adjust to zeroing. And also, when I come down to the garden, I've got to use my intuition and the sights within the telescopic sight, the graticles. I may have to move up and down within those marks to find my point of aim so I hit the target cleanly again. I've already said I'm rusty, but blatantly, you know, I do need to practice it again. Right, let's just have a look at this target and I'll explain or show you what I mean about the back of the target. You can see it's blowing out the back of my target. It is thin ply, probably only 3 mil, I believe, but that still represents what a rat would be. And you can see my backstop is this hedge. So I've got the target itself, I've got the hedge, and obviously I have nothing to worry about behind me. It is just a field. Although I must point out, any pellet leaving the confines of your actual private property is illegal and you would be committing an offence. So I'm well within my target area here. I have a lot of room here to make slight errors. You go back in. There you go, Jamie. There's the keys. Lock the door. So that's what you would call my grouping, and it's not, well, spectacular, but as you can see I need to go up and perhaps to the left slightly, but that is a grouping I can work with at this distance. So you may be thinking, why am I not totally devastated I wasn't hitting smack bang in the middle of that target? Well, quite simply because the group or the spread of pellets I had would have quite easily given me a good solid hit on a rat-sized target. I do want to try and tighten that group up, so basically the circle of the pellets gets smaller, but I do know that I can adjust the sight now to bring the pellets up and bring it back into that circle. If my pellet circle was dramatically wide and I had the odd one or two all over the place, which you would call flyers, I know I'd have a lot of work to do. I'm happy with that because it gives me a good solid starting base to fine-tune my accuracy. I've got a cheap air rifle, cheap scope, and I'm using cheap pellets, so I'm not going to achieve Olympic standard shooting. And indeed, when I was in the army, I was never the best shot. I made all my tests and targets that I had to achieve my MATS testing and get the tick in the box whenever I was on the range, but I was never the best shot. I was only average at best. But hey, we're doing what we can here, and the point of this is that I'm trying to get myself to that standard I feel confident to take a rat out at this distance. Right, let's walk down and have a look here. Right then, that may look a little bit confusing, but let's draw a circle here. That was the original 5 shots. This is the ones I've just done. You can see I've brought it up an inch, but my spread is almost another half as much wide. That one there, I'm probably going to say that's a flyer. I wasn't that comfortable. So really, that's my grouping there, which is pretty much on par with that. That one there, hopefully, is an abnormally, and I just pulled the trigger or snatched the trigger. So if you discount that one as what you call a flyer, a real bad pull on the trigger or weren't comfortable, that grouping is similar to that. So I've got my upwards elevation pretty much where I want it to be. You can see that's pretty much dead center. That one there is a bit high, but these 3 here are pretty much on par where I want them. So while I'm continuing to fine-tune my shooting to get it a little bit better, I would just like to say I did at one point further back in my back catalogue of videos suggest that I might take you guys hunting with me. There's several reasons I haven't. The first one being that all social media platforms seem to be, not the word clamping down, distancing themselves or shutting down anything to do with shooting, hunting and that type of thing. It's still there, you can still get it and see it, as you probably know already, but there does seem to be a bit of a chokehold beginning to form on it. And another thing is, particularly here in the UK, as it's been pointed out to me, we're an extremely urbanised country now, and countryside traditional activities and pursuits don't command the following, the respect, or indeed the desire to know about them or watch them, or just to have any sort of content of that. So I'm kind of torn really. I would like to bring you along on perhaps some hunting. I haven't done any myself for a long time, although I do have the means and the opportunity and the land that I can shoot with permission on. So it's a double-edged sword for me. Would I like to go and do it? Yes. Would I like to take you along? Yes. Do I think it would be beneficial for the channel and the viewers? That's open to debate, but with the way things are and how society is, I would be of the mind that it's beginning to be suppressed, so I'm not sure that's really that viable to put on my channel. I'm hoping you guys can understand that. Right, I've had to come back into the workshop. The kids want to go out and go on the trampoline for another 20 minutes, half hour. But I just thought it worth explaining. To adjust the actual telescopic sights, you've got dials on the top and bottom. You can probably see there's an arrow with L for left. If you turn that way, right, obviously that way. And there's a corresponding one on the top which should say up, follow the arrow, and obviously going the other way is down. So in retrospect, what you're doing by moving those dials, you're moving your crosshairs, which hopefully I've managed to get a picture somehow of inside the telescopic sight. I don't have proper camera equipment, so it's massively difficult, but this is essentially what you're looking at. Obviously, that is the center of your target where you try to get it. These are graticals which you can allow for windage and range up or down for distance or being closer. Now, sometimes that point won't actually sit on your target. Your target could actually be over here on that graticle there because of windage, basically allowing for the wind, speed of the wind. You may have to aim off to hit the target. That comes down to marksmanship and knowing the conditions that you're shooting in and the distances you're shooting over. But basically, that's what I'm looking at when I'm aiming at the target. In my garden, I've got that there. The center of the actual sight is ranged in for the length of my garden, which is, as I said, 30 meters or something like that. I can't remember the precise amount, but that's irrespective, because the point is, if I move further down the garden to get closer to the target, I may have to aim above and using one of these graticals here on the target, because the pellet won't have an arc to get to the target. It doesn't actually fly straight, it flies in an arc. I'll try and demonstrate that in a minute. So I've been shooting down here, and that's my group there. I've done 6. I've got 2 through there, 2 nearly on top of each other there, 1 there, and I got a flyer again. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at, and I'm pretty much within that group there. So I'm beginning to improve, and the quality of my shooting is starting to come through, but I still have to be I still got to work on my position and trigger, to not snatch it so much, to avoid getting the odd flyer. And also I did put 6 down range instead of 5. Now I'm going to come up to this one here, and I'm going to move pretty much down the garden to a point where I would sneak up on a rat and get a closer shot. And I'll do that aiming at the middle, putting the crosshair dead center of the target like I am these here, and we'll see the difference it makes being zeroed in right at the back of the garden to coming right away past the halfway mark. There, I'm going to come up here as though I snuck down, and I'll take up my position here, and I'll aim at the target through there. Well, coming halfway down the garden, I'm using the position of unsupported. I don't have anything. I'm not lying on the floor to gain a stronger shooting position, and I'm not using the table and chair like I was at the top of the garden. My actual shooting group isn't that much different than from the top, even though I'm unsupported. So you can clearly see that, or I should imagine, if I moved back to the top of the garden and continued the unsupported position, my group would open up further, because even though I'm closer, my group is only really the same size as I was at the back of the garden supported. So I'm going to move in closer like I would if I was here shooting at the chicken area, which is half as close again. This being this close, I should imagine if I'm shooting at the center of the target, I should see my pellets rise to the top, but we'll find out. So that's that grouping there, and you can see it's almost in a figure of 7 like that, and the spread is pretty much the size of the spread from double the distance back, and that's simply because I'm not using anything to really support myself, so it's opening up my group. Discount those 2, but we're going to aim there, and we're going to be pretty much, well, I would say almost on top of the target. Right then, this is me shooting down here, and this would be simulating me from the woodshed shooting down, and you can instantly see we've discounted those. All those shots are within, I don't know, a 1p coin size you would hit. So if I'm aiming here, even though I'm this close, I'm getting a drop. So basically, I'm gonna, even though I'm really close, I'm gonna have to aim a bit higher to hit dead center. Let's see if, just put 2 or 3 pellets, see if that remedies it. So there you go, we've remedied that. I've got a couple in there, but I've got 3 there in a nice tight group, and I've had to aim on the bottom line of the crosshair, basically 2 graticles. So shooting is a science in its own right, you know, working out the ballistics of a round, traditional round, or a pellet from a pellet gun. It will tend to climb and then come down in an arc. Obviously, the more power and the faster, the straighter the trajectory, or the smaller, lighter rounds will tend to have a slightly flatter trajectory. But with each particular weapon system or round or pellet gun producing the power and size of the particular pellet, they all have their own individual characteristics. You'll have to learn and work out for your shooting style, the distances, and in particular the quarry you may be hunting or the targets you may be shooting at. So I'm kind of happy enough that I can hit a rat from the top of the garden, and I've worked out if I bring myself down to here, my aiming point changes substantially, which I hope you've seen, and I hope it kind of makes sense. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I feel I'm pretty much back on target, on top of my game. I'm not going to be the best shooter or the best target shooter, as you can evidently see, but I can hit a rat and know I'm going to be within the kill zone and knock it over. So I'm now going to put my caps back on my actual telescopic sighting system without cross-threading them, and I'm going to get a couple tin cans and just have a little knockabout, a bit of fun, a bit of practice. Now it's the end of the day. I'm beginning to lose light, and I'm going to call it a day after that. So let's get some tin cans and just bash them around, have a bit of fun and a bit of entertainment, light entertainment. Right, let me go and get some cans. Well then, the evening's beginning to draw in, and I've had a lot of fun zeroing in that air rifle and getting familiar with the trajectory and ballistics and performance of it. I do feel confident that I could take some vermin with it. I'll probably take it out another couple times before I get into autumn rat season, if I use that term. But I did actually say in the army I was only an average shot, but what I forgot to mention, when I transferred units, I actually competed for my squadron in the actual shooting competitions within the actual core itself. And I did actually win a plate for shooting. Obviously, I was never a sniper, and like I said, I'm only an average shot, but it does need cleaning to see the writing on it. I'm going to try and zoom you in so you can see it. It's just a little interesting footnote. It's not a boast because I'm not a good shot, and what I won this for was called the falling plate, which is you've got your whole team with one magazine with X amount of rounds each, and you've got a lot of steel plates, and it's almost like simulating a fire team in contact. And basically you run up to the firing point, if I remember correctly, you get down into position, and then you just unload everything at these steel plates as a team. So you've got to work together to conserve ammunition, but it's got to be fast and rapid to smack down all these steel plates. And the team I was part of, we did actually win. So I'll let you have a look. Well, there you go. 2011 falling plate, and it was the competition was in the RLC core. So yeah, my team was a winner on that in 2011. So I was quite chuffed about that. Not down just to me, but to the whole team working together. But you still had to be a good enough shot to smack those steel plates down. Right then, I'm going to bring this video to a close, and I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me just to get myself, like I said, familiar with my air rifle. There has been a serious side to it because I do use it seriously as one of my methods to control rats. So there has been a very serious side to this. So yeah, thanks for coming along. I hope it was of some value. I'm not an expert, like I said, when I was talking about shooting and things like that. I've forgotten more than I'll ever know. So on that vein, if you do need any information on shooting, ballistics, sighting and everything that I may have vaguely talked about, there's a raft of professional people online, and indeed this platform, YouTube, you can learn properly from. All this has been a bit of entertainment, you watching me zero in and getting familiar so I can use my air rifle as a tool. So take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.